Good evening, and I apologize for our tardiness. Good evening. Welcome. I'd now like to call the regular board meeting of September 29th, 2015. Or August, yeah. You know, I just read this. No, it's okay. What I find interesting is that I will read anything that's here and pretend that it makes sense. My apologies, October 27th, 2015. I'd like to call Mrs. McGrath to say the pledge. Thank you.
I'd like to remind everyone there is no comma. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No comma taken. Oh, it's all right. We could argue about grammar later on. Welcome this evening as well to Dr. Maria Hess's ASU class members. The American, where are you? Yay. Thank you. Did they bribe you to come here? Did they bribe you? Okay. Very fair, very fair. Before I go on, I would like to announce that there are some substitutions for this evening. Josh Mackey for Dr. LaKoya Shelton-Johnson, and Ray Rivera for Sherry Olson. And welcome to our interims, Mary O'Connor, Chris Haynes, and Bill G. Bill, where are you?
Right here.
How do you say your last name?
Guerrero.
Guerrero. Thank you, sir. Thank you, and welcome. Student life reports. I'd like to first begin with Glendale Community College. And come on down. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening, members of the governing board, Chancellor.
Your mic.
Okay. All right. Can everyone hear me?
That's good.
Good evening, governing board members, Chancellor Glasper, I see, presidents, especially our own Dr. Kovala. It is a pleasure to be here tonight presenting the student life report for Glendale Community College. We are Associate Student Government, and my name is Jesus Saldana, president of this organization. We are thankful for this opportunity to talk with you about our past academic year and what may lay ahead for our institution as well as our students. Some of the concerns expressed last year are still ever present: dwindling or insufficient resources, student engagement, strategic directions, and our desire to see one another complete our degrees and reach our goals. This past year, the Leadership Center and Associate Student Government personally touched the lives of over 32 students. It took 2 campuses and countless hours to do it, but all in all, it was worth it. We would like to share some of our experiences and insight with you this evening. As you can see, I've brought my governing board with me. To elaborate on our roles as student leaders at GCC, I would like to introduce my Vice President, Jessica Mateo.
Throughout the school year and even the summer, students working hard try to balance their academics, extracurricular activities, and life responsibilities. However, despite all this, many students also want to better themselves through honing and developing their leadership skills. This is where Glendale Community College steps up and offers opportunities for growth through leadership opportunities, which include workshops, retreats, and conferences, many of which are facilitated entirely to make the best possible use of our talented faculty and existing resources. Clubs also take their members' growth into their own hands by taking the initiative to host campus-wide events and attend conferences and conventions that are inherent to their missions. Psi Beta and Amnesty International are perfect examples of this, with plans to attend the WPA and AI Western Conference respectively later this year. The most rewarding part of all these leadership growth opportunities is the experience hearing It is the experience of hearing our students excitedly sharing their stories and passing on their newfound knowledge. One peer learning from a fellow peer. It doesn't get any better than that. Please meet our treasurer, Ariel Garcia.
Possibility. More than a word, it is a life with the excitement of achieving goals, set or otherwise. Possibility defines student life at GCC. Our student organization plan trips that have meaning, and along with our Student Leadership Center plan and host events that are engaging to our students, staff, and community members alike. This is most evident in our diverse cultural activities and presentations. Through creative programming, our internal and external communities are afforded the opportunity to experience presentations and film series that are relevant and timely to today's current issues. Please meet our secretary, Teresa Bruno.
As Associate Student Government, we feel that it is imperative to be the voice of our students. To gain the opinions of our students, we need communication with GCC clubs and our open business meetings. Constantly seeking to improve this, we have asked for our student population's input and are actively seeking ways to implement their suggestions. Even small changes can have great lasting results. To further increase communication with GCC's clubs, we encourage all student government members to attend other clubs' meetings and perhaps even be active members in other clubs. We believe in this way, through cross-pollination, we are stronger and more responsive to their needs, while also carrying forward to messages. We care and academics come first. To talk more about who we are as a student group, our growth, and what we've accomplished thus far, here's our public relations, Andre Garcia.
Several years ago, when the Student Leadership Center first opened its doors, there were less than 25 student organizations on campus, and a student government board that seldom saw a full board. Fast forward 7 years, and we now have more than 60 student organizations on campus, a thriving and engaged student life, and an associated student government that routinely has a full board with a cumulative GPA much higher than the required 2.0. Student government involvement has grown from merely attending events on campus to actually planning and facilitating them. Our most recent endeavor was providing our fellow students with a very successful Spirit Week and a Dia de los Muertos themed homecoming dance. We have seen larger and larger numbers of student involvement as we continue to set our goals higher and higher each year. We look forward to more of this hard work and will strive to continue our growth on campus. To conclude our presentation this evening, I would like to once again reintroduce our president, Jesus Saldana.
As you can see, GCC leaders both from student government and our other club organizations are taking part into their personal college and community growth. We as student government encourage these leaders to not only exceed inside their classrooms but outside. We promote many activities for students to encourage in their social interactions within the college, such as our evening entertainments series, homecoming week festivities, study feasts, and our expansion activities at GCC North. We appreciate having the opportunity to address you this evening. Thank you.
Oh, no. Mr. Saldana. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's not how I play. No. We at least allow the board to ask any questions or have any comments. Board? Well, I do. First of all, thank you for taking the time and coming down here and presenting in front of us. We're not that scary. They are, but we're not. Thank you very much. I agree with all of you, and thank you very much for getting involved. That getting involved is the key to success, and at the college level, actually at any level academically and in life. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Madam Chair?
Yes.
I do have a question. I was impressed by the statistic about the growth in the student clubs, because I think those kinds of relationships encourage students to be successful in their classroom. So I congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
I guess you could sit down now. Nobody else has anything. Sorry. Dr. Ernie Lara from Estrella Mountain and presenting tonight the cybersecurity program.
Good evening, President Livingston, members of the board, Dr. Glasper, and fellow CEC members. Tonight we have a college report from Estrella Mountain Community College. This report will include an overview of a new program which focuses on training students for a career pathway in cybersecurity. Specifically, the faculty will discuss how this new program was recently designated as a Center of Academic Excellence in Cyber Defense 2-year education by the United States National Security Agency, the NSA, and the Department of Homeland Security. Please allow me to introduce the Estrella Mountain faculty members who are here this evening to share more about this new exciting program. Mr. Jim Nichols, Instructional Computing Division Chair and CIS faculty, Mr. Larry Heinz, CIS faculty, and also in the audience is Dr. Heather Weber, Dean of Occupational Education and Workforce Development.
I'll let you get started. Thank you, Dr. Laura, President Livingston, members of the board, Dr. Glasper, and the CEC members. Thank you for having us this evening so that we can share information with you on the Estrella Mountain Community College's cybersecurity program. Cybersecurity is something that everybody has been aware of and certainly has been in the news. The part that has always been interesting with cybersecurity is everybody thinks that it's a large force in front of us. The reality is most cybersecurity is really the dudes in the back. They're usually making everything happen for us, and we'd like to help take this program and train that new level, a whole new education for the young students, and get some more of our student body involved. This started out with a process with the Get Into Energy Arizona Corridor grant. As the energy program partners with APS, SRP, Get in Arizona Corporation, and others went through and looked at just the energy requirements for employees. 2000 through 2050, the number of employees we would need in the workforce to support energy alone is growing exponentially. They came to us. We were able to help them. Chandler Gilbert, all the community colleges got together and went, we can help build a workforce for that. Cybersecurity was added as the last minute. It was requested by industry, and it was a 3-year project, and it was added in year 3. Local subject matter experts. We were fortunate to have with us at that point in time Mike Eccles, who wrote the book on smart grid security. We were able to engage him, and he helped bring this program to a complete circle and fruition for us. So he's still a member of our academic process and one of our adjunct faculty, and it's a pleasure to have him on board. One of the many grants that helped this, the National Information Security Geospatial Technologies Consortium, also known as NISGTC. This grant involved both Estrella Mountain Community College, Rio, and South Mountain, and we were pleased to partner with them. The grant provided an incredible amount of resources, infrastructure, and support to include tutors, success coaches, and the people that made this happen and help go on. United States Department of Homeland Security, National Security Administration, Federal Bureau of Investigation, InfoGuard, Arizona Department of Public Safety, Arizona Cyber Threat Response Alliance, and the Arizona Counterterrorism Intelligence Center were all part of our partners and academic review process that helped us put this together. When we looked at this, we decided we really needed to get the people who knew what the cybersecurity threats were involved, and they have been part of the advisorship for this along the entire way. Getting to energy was a process when we looked at it where we wanted to be able to do stackable credentials. As with any of the educational programs, we need to be able to one of those take the successes they had and grown on. As you can see from the chart, and it is a bit of an eye chart, but we start with the very simple things with any of our students: personal effectiveness, academic requirements, workforce requirements. From there, we'll take them into the process of industry-wide technical information, and then start narrow down to the specific information that we're looking for you to have. Occupational specific knowledge areas, occupation specific technical, and occupational specific requirements. Each of these has been reviewed carefully, and the program has been based upon these requirements. Turn it over to Jim.
Thank you.
When we started to research the what was happening
Excuse
in
me, sir, would you introduce yourself, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Jim Nichols. I'm the Division Chair for Instructional Computing, and thank you for the opportunity to come and present. When we were researching the industry and the competencies that students would need to build their skills and their knowledge sets, it was a few years back. It was much more Wild West as far as lack of standardization for cybersecurity competencies. Lately, they've been kind of standardizing around the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education, but back when we started, it was far more widespread. So it was a bit of a chore to kind of corral it and kind of gather it in. What we endeavored to do is look at the different levels of cybersecurity proficiency and try to map it to different levels of education. High school education, associate's degree level, bachelor's level, and master's level, so that we could make a lifelong career plan where students could achieve skills at each level and have stop outs where they could go into industry, they could go and work, they could perhaps work on their next level of education while in the workforce or not, or whether they're in the workforce or not, and keep moving up their own. So the diagram here on the left is trying to show these four areas: high school, associate's degree level, bachelor's degree, and master's degree. And I recognize that text is so tiny, I don't even have a chance to read it myself. But if you could see what's basically showing is an outline of some of the content, some of the competencies that you would achieve at each level, and some of the certifications, the industry professional certifications that are appropriate at each level, and the same information is then referenced here in this table. So this is what we put together, and this is kind of the skeleton of the program, and vetted by all the groups that Larry spoke about earlier. What we were able to do is build upon our strengths at Estrella Mountain. We had an existing Network Technologies Institute, which includes several programs such as the Cisco networking program, Red Hat Linux program, Microsoft program, things like virtualization or hardware, basically things that are generally associated with information technology. And these things are things that are already a strength for Estrella Mountain. So when we went to the advisory group and we learned that those very things are the things that build the foundation for strong cyber defense workforce, we knew that we were in our wheelhouse. We were lucky enough through the NIS GTC grant, as Larry mentioned, to be able to bring on things like success coaches and content-specific tutors and a variety of other resources that we were able to package together all in centralized locations under an institute model. And it's been very, very successful. So in addition to what we already, the strengths that we already had, we were able to add on new programs, the IT and power system security degree, and the embedded CCL that goes with it. In order to go from this point forward, we needed to submit a variety of information as criteria towards the NSA and the Department of Homeland Security designation as a Center for Academic Excellence for 2-year schools in cybersecurity. And so they have a robust list of knowledge units that must be met in the curriculum, and we were able to show that our curriculum does indeed match those units and more. We were required to show that our instructional methods, including our labs, actually would develop the skills required for the workplace. And also that as an institution, both at Estrella and at Maricopa as a whole, that we practice what we preach, that our security, our IT security efforts match the sort of material that we are teaching in class. So we were successful, and this year, achieved the CA2I designation. We're the first community college in Arizona to receive that designation. There are 3 universities that have the 4-year version, and so we're looking very much forward to partnering with them as a progression. And I'll share in a little bit plans for just that. Some of the benefits, in addition just to holding the designation, are that there's some level of quality assurance. Essentially, when the National Security Agency says that this program is a good program for learning information security, I think that's probably a pretty good thing. As far as opportunities for students, the program includes a variety of opportunities such as access to conferences, scholarship opportunities. There's a scholarship for service program, which is usually pointed towards the 4-year student, but we're hoping to be able to create a bridge to get there as well. This is somewhat what the program looks like. Larry shared that this stemmed from the power industry. Our Get Into Energy grant partners wanted to see cybersecurity in terms of securing the power infrastructure, and so the focus of the program began as this power IT system security track, and our subject matter experts helped to build a robust curriculum that does just that. But we widened out our advisory committee because there are many other industries that are looking for this sort of thing as well, not just power. And so we were able to create tracks in network security, Cisco-centric, and 2 versions of system security, including Red Hat Linux and Microsoft. So students have a choice of which track that they may want to pursue on top of the security core. And every one of these tracks, including the core, has multiple industry certifications that students will learn about and be able to challenge based on what they're learning in class. I mentioned earlier partnerships as far as pathways. That serpentine grid graphic that you saw earlier, we definitely wanted to focus on incoming high school students and see what kind of partnerships we could create with them. We were lucky enough to be able to partner with the MET High School in the Peoria district. It's a medical engineering and technology school. And for the technology piece, they decided to partner with us in cybersecurity. And so we have students out there through dual enrollment and co-enrollment that are taking the first of the progression of classes and plan to continue on at Estrella Mountain after graduation from high school. We have a number of college to university partnerships. Cyber forensics program with Arizona State University West, which is one of the universities in Arizona that is a CAA 4Y school. We've got a cybersecurity and a master's in science in IT with a focus in cybersecurity, both at Excelsior College, which is an online school out of New York. And then we have a partnership with NAU, which is our AAS map to their Bachelor of Interdisciplinary Studies in IT management. And the nice thing about that particular program, it's a 90-30 program. They'll take up to 90 credits from the Maricopas. And so if a student completes this degree with 60 to 65 credits, they have this gap of 30 credits where they can achieve their AJEC, and they can also pursue an additional track and fulfill more industry certifications as they work on towards their bachelor's, all at the Maricopas. So that's a really nice feature. That's the quick overview of the program. Are there questions?
My voice is not 100% here, so bear with me.
No worries.
In terms of jobs, I mean, this is pretty much a given that anybody that qualifies for this whole progression is going to either have an internship or a job in Arizona and other places around the country. What I've always thought is interesting is what kind of prerequisites in terms of aptitude a student needs. I think a nerd sitting behind a computer all day, just like you see on last night on the TV, I guess, at 9 o'clock they had this cyber thing. But is that a unique set of skills coming into the program that one needs, or are these skills that you can learn through the process of your program?
I certainly believe that any student can learn, and every student comes in at different levels with different knowledge and abilities, but all of this is certainly attainable. Our kind of fulcrum of the program is a couple of classes that are the first level of cybersecurity, and those classes have heavy prerequisites: a little bit of networking, a little bit of system security in Linux and Microsoft, ethics, MIS, compliance. And so by the time they even touch the nuts and bolts of cybersecurity, we've got a foundation going of the fundamentals of networking and all those other things. So it builds in increments, but absolutely I think any student can learn.
Outside of the technical side of things, how important are core classes like math, obviously, and science in preparing yourself to get into this program?
Absolutely important. So in one of those slides that showed kind of the tiered skill levels, the first tier was about kind of interpersonal abilities and kind of being able to present yourself well. By the time I got to the third level, it was about workforce appropriateness, things like teamwork and managing time and things along those lines. And so sandwiched in between those two levels are the fundamental knowledge and abilities that you would expect any student or employee to be able to have. Reading, writing, math is a big part of cybersecurity, as it is any networking or computer program, really.
Good. Thank you very much. This is exciting stuff. We've been looking at this for a year or two now, and it's nice to see that we're really starting on our way to putting people in place to keep organizations like this from having problems like that.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any other questions?
Any other questions? Chancellor Gosper.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I would like to comment and thank Dr. Lara and Estrella Mountain for this movement. I would like to read a recommendation to you. I would like to remind the board that I currently sit on the Department of Homeland Security Academic Advisory Council. And with that, we adopted a recommendation about a year back or so, and it talks about how DHS can partner with academia to build a pipeline of diverse students in STEM. And I was provided these slides by Dr. Lara and his staff, and I presented the pathway slide, and I also presented the stackable credentials. Currently, DHS looks at only hiring bachelor's degree workers. We have now adopted a recommendation which builds on increasing the number of community colleges as centers for academic excellence in cybersecurity, and they're also adopting the pathway in terms of looking at stackable credentials and the movement from community colleges into the bachelor's program. There's a level of conversation that talks about the retention of employees and the ability to then align it with the K-12 system and begin to look at a whole pathway through the elementary and high school level and into the university if that's what they want to do. So I'm also sharing that the scholarships that are currently available are increasing and that they have a commitment of 3 years to DHS, that if our students are successful, that the federal government wants them to pay it off, but they'll give them a job. So this is directly aligned with federal jobs, and there's a series of recommendations of which many have been adopted by DHS in the last 4 years. So I applaud you in your efforts, and your work has been noticed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Obviously, this is very current, very now, and very needed. So thank you very much for bringing this forward. Dr. Lara, thank you for helping develop this. It's exciting. Well, Dr. Bustamante, it looks like we're bringing forth White House recognitions. So
Yes.
step further.
All right. President Livingston, members of the board, Chancellor Glasper, members of CEC and guests. I'd like to share some exciting information about 2 recognitions from the White House and 2 grants that Rio Salado College recently received. In September, as part of the White House Initiative on Educational Excellence for Hispanics, Rio Salado College was recognized as a bright spot in education for our adults achieving a college education program. Rio's ACE program is a scholarship-based college and career readiness pathway for adults age 16 and older who are committed to completing a degree or a certificate program. And a core mission of the program is to serve first-generation and minority students who would not otherwise have an opportunity to attend college. The Adult ACE Pathways program also allows eligible students to concurrently enroll in GED classes while taking developmental and 100-level credit-based general education classes. The ultimate goal is to improve student success by facilitating a smooth transition between pre-college and post-secondary classes. I'd also like to congratulate my sister institution, South Mountain Community College, who was also recognized in the same category for their bilingual nursing fellows program. Also earlier this month, as part of this same White House initiative, Rio's teacher education program was one of more than 100 commitments to action recognized nationally And since Arizona faces an extreme teacher shortage with reports of some 26,000 current educators being eligible for retirement by June 30th, 2018, a Grow Your Own Teacher Certification Pathways commitment from RIO will reach out to high enrollment Hispanic public school districts, charters, and private schools to identify members of these specific communities who may have an interest in any of the programs Rio Salado College, including the other Maricopa community colleges, that provides from any range of GED preparation classes to post-baccalaureate programs and master's degree partnerships to grow the pipeline of qualified teachers now and into the future. So we certainly want to do our share in making sure we have qualified teachers in the future in our classrooms. And also last month, Rio Salado was awarded a $2.6 million first in the world U.S. Department of Education grant. And the selection process was highly competitive, and Rio Salado was only one of 17 schools chosen from throughout the U.S. From more than 300 applications. Also in September, Rio Salado College received another grant from the Gates Foundation. This would be the 6th grant we received from them, which will provide $575,000 to support the planning and preparation for an out-of-state online program expansion that we hope will create revenue-generating opportunities for both the college and the district. With your approval this evening on this board agenda, we will begin our work on these two specific grants. I appreciate the members of the RIO team who worked on these grants and congratulate them on these successful outcomes. Dr. Shannon McCarty, who is our Dean of Instruction, has led these teams and is with us this evening to share some brief details about the key elements of these two grants. Dr. McCarty?
Thank you, Dr. Bustamante. President Livingston, members of the board, Dr. Glasper, members of the CEC, and guests. It is a pleasure to come here and speak to you tonight about these really two exciting and innovative grant opportunities that have come through RIO. The first one, as Dr. Bustamante spoke to, is called the First in the World. RIO has named our portion of the grant called the PLUS grant. It's Planning for Undergraduate Success. It is a 4-year grant. A $2.67 million opportunity. Through this grant, over the next 4 years, we will be serving new students to Rio Salado College. They will be degree seeking, specifically in the areas of an AA, an AS, an ABUS, an AGS, or a transferred degree to one of the universities. They could be deemed at risk, and for many of us, that is a high population of students that we currently serve, 25 plus. A part-time student, they can be a minority student, veteran, GED completer, first generation. So they're deemed at risk or a high need of support. What we will be doing to serve these students. First, we will be enrolling them in a PLUS seminar. And really what our PLUS seminar does, we'll be focusing on metacognitive skills. So we're gonna be teaching students how to set goals, time management, study skills, grit, self-efficacy. All of this will be facilitated by a PLUS coach, and the PLUS coach is really going to have that opportunity to intervene with the student, to reach out, to nudge the student when appropriate, to provide that resource and support for these students as they enter college for the first time. Also, they will be enrolled in a focused sequence of courses of 13 credits for their first 13 credits. And the courses that we have selected are those that we know that students are highly successful in. All of this will occur during the first year of the grant. And then in the second year, which I think adds a little bit more excitement to the grant opportunity, we will take the PLUS seminar and the focused sequence of courses and put them in an adaptive platform. And the adaptive platform is really allowing us to personalize the process for students. It's going to have a robust analytics behind the system that really provides those just-in-time outreach opportunities for the faculty member that's facilitating the course, increases interventions, and just really opportunities for that student to be successful. So really the premise behind the First in the World grant is we're going to get students in, set them up right from the start to be highly successful, to teach them how to be self-resilient and self-reliable online learners. That's the First in the World grant. The next grant is the Student Success and Scaling Initiative. And this grant is from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. As Dr. Bustamante said, it is a $575,000 grant, and it's a very short-term grant. But what we're really going to be doing with the funds is we're going to build on areas of successful best practices. We're going to be leveraging what we already have learned from our work with the Gates Foundation, and then utilizing our experience offering high-quality online education. We're going to create a business model that will allow us to scale and then serve underserved student populations outside of Arizona. So during the grant period, we're going to be assembling a team of higher education experts, and these experts are going to collaborate with Rio-specific teams that are going to be focused on the student life cycle. So that's from recruitment to graduation, the entire student experience, technology from looking at platforms and devices to supports and apps, academic learning platforms, possible courseware offerings, student information systems that can support these innovative practices, and then just best practices for outreach moving forward. So at the end of the grant, we will be supplying, we'll have a business plan in place, a timeline for implementation, and then a final white paper that we will share with the Gates Foundation. And I can say with working with the Gates Foundation, they were very excited about this opportunity. They see it as definitely an opportunity just to learn how you would take a deep dive, how community colleges go into being resilient, and also just relentless improvement. And then adding that innovation behind our plan. So those are the two grants that I came to speak about. So thank you.
Any questions, or Mr. Char?
Both grants have a timeline, one 3 years and one 8 months. Is there some sustainability? The second one I'm more interested in, I guess, for this question, but it sounds like this is a catalyst to develop a program that will or won't work. We'll find this out. But that not only can we use here at Maricopa and especially Rio, but this could be shared nationwide. I assume that's what a lot of Gates grants do, in our case especially.
Yes. With the Gates grant, part of the white paper is not sharing the secret sauce, so to speak, but really just sharing the process. So if other institutions wanted to create this kind of deep dive opportunity and work with other higher ed experts, they would have kind of a step-by-step directional outcome of how to do so, but not really sharing what we learned during our process.
Regarding the first grant, your source of students for that, where do you see that coming from?
We looked at the current students that we do serve, and we see over the 4 years that we would be able to serve about 6,800 students from those that are already enrolled at Rio. So, yeah, we just continue to serve the students we already do, just providing these opportunities for them.
And this is a 3-year grant?
A 4-year grant.
4-year grant, sorry.
Yes, sir.
Do you see an extension of that on our own, that we can continue the program for long term, whether it's grant funded or not, if it's successful?
Yes, absolutely. Part of the grant is really doing a very controlled study to really determine what variables can help these students be successful. And I think allowing us that opportunity to identify what intervention, support, resources need to be put in place will allow us that opportunity to put money where we need to, knowing that that's where students are most successful. There's also opportunities through the First in the World after the original implementation grant is a validation grant, so that you can go out and apply using those same premises and variables that you wanted to study and move forward with validating that, hey, that really did work. So it wasn't just, short term, a 4-year opportunity.
And final question, you have Rio's system. Is this also applicable to a brick and mortar operation?
For the First in the World?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Okay. I could see that what we learn, yes, it could be used for brick and mortar, for hybrid learning. Absolutely.
Good. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? It's very impressive this evening. The work that you've all done to put these grants together is amazing, and you'll serve a great population, because the at-risk learner is definitely the one that we need to pull back in.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on this evening. Faculty Executive Council report. Ms. Selena Bednarik.
Thank you.
Bednarik.
That's fine, don't worry.
No.
President Livingston, members of the board, Chancellor Glasper, members of the CEC, and guests. I'm now in my 6th month as Faculty Association President, and I've had the pleasure of speaking with each of you on many occasions prior to this evening. I know from those conversations that we all share a commitment to student learning and student success, the mechanisms by which this great institution brings the benefits of higher education to our community. Faculty are central to that shared mission. Student success depends on having highly qualified and engaged faculty in our classrooms who provide second-to-none education based on up-to-date techniques and knowledge. Our faculty believe in that mission and that responsibility. They carry them out every day in their interactions with students. Residential faculty are the foundation of Maricopa's ability to deliver superior education for our students, their families, and our communities and businesses that need skilled employees. While I advocate for the faculty as the president of the Faculty Association, I'm also here tonight to advocate for all MCCD employees. We are all a part of Maricopa. We are all important to making this system thrive. I stand before you tonight to tell you that it is time. It is time that we have an open conversation about compensation for our employees. It is time that we recognize the quality and value of the work all employees contribute to this system. While I fully recognize the fiscal realities of our district, I also recognize that the district's continued success depends on the ability to attract and retain highly qualified, diverse workforce through competitive and progressive compensation. The employees of Maricopa have been patient. We have been good soldiers in difficult times. We have trusted that our compensation was a priority for the district and that it would be addressed as soon as it was able to do so. It is time that we recognize our hardworking, innovative, and dedicated employees who've remained with us through the past 7 years. During that time, wages have been stagnant, with only a modest COLA adjustment, multiple modest COLA adjustments, and single-step salary increase. We are fortunate to work in this district, but we are also valuable professionals who bring an enormous amount of energy and talent to this enterprise. We choose to work for Maricopa because we believe in its mission and vision for our community. We have chosen to remain largely silent about the lack of salary increase the last several years and focus on the immediate needs of our district. But now it is time. I respect the fiscal decisions that are some of the most difficult that you face, requiring you to make tough decisions to protect the quality of the institution as well as to represent the interests of your constituents. I urge you to consider your role as trustees of this district, trustees not only of the fiduciary and administrative operations of this district, but of its reputation as the home of excellent faculty, of its legacy as an exemplary community college district, and its history of success. If the district is to remain great, to build upon and continue to improve decades of innovation and quality, then it must retain the human capital on which that greatness is founded. We need to keep our engaged and committed employees. We need to do what we must to prioritize those who make Maricopa great, its employees. Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes.
could I ask that she please identify herself?
Oh, my name is Selena Bednarik, and I am the Faculty Association President.
B.
EDNAREK. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Adjunct Faculty Association report, Dr. Lindsay Dippold. Good evening. Oh, come on, guys. It's just getting good.
Homework.
Where's the love? Homework.
Good evening, President Livingston, members of the board, Dr. Glasper, members of the CEC, and guests. My name is Lindsay Dippold. I am the Adjunct Faculty Association representative for Gateway Community College. I'm in my 2nd year in this position, and I was asked to come and give you guys a brief overview of a program that we're doing at Gateway Community College called the Adjunct Faculty Academy. This is in its second year as a pilot program. It is a paid training opportunity for new adjunct faculty. So we target those adjunct faculty that have been teaching in the district for less than 3 years to do this intensive cohort modeled training. Last year we started with 6 adjunct faculty from various disciplines, and we have increased to 10 from Gateway, and we opened it up and invited 6 from Phoenix College to join us. So one Saturday a month from 8 a.m. to 12 noon, adjunct faculty give up their college game day watching and other more important responsibilities to learn about pedagogy and many different things. So some of the program outcomes are to not only participate but contribute to a collaborative community, to identify, utilize campus resources, create a plan to integrate available resources into teaching strategies to promote retention, completion, and student success, to design lesson plans that align with course competencies, accurately assess learning, and engage students, to utilize available instructional technology to improve delivery of course curriculum and increase student learning and engagement, and to develop a plan for continued professional growth. So we cover things such as motivation, some of the research behind active learning, and the importance of lesson planning. And the idea is that, as Tinto will be here on Friday for the Student Success Conference, there's a lot of research out there that says adjunct faculty don't know the resources as well as residential faculty, so this is a way to introduce them to the resources, help them utilize those in their course to positively correlate with retention, but to also increase their own job satisfaction so that they feel better about themselves and their ability to teach in the classroom. And so while we only have 16 participants, if you think they are teaching 3 courses with 20 students each, they're reaching 1,000 students almost per semester each time. So we have continued plans with support from our Center for Teaching and Learning, as well as MCLI, the Maricopa Center for Learning and Instruction, and our own Gateway administration to continue, expand, and share those resources with anyone who is interested in developing their adjunct faculty.
Thank you very much. Any comments or questions for Lindsay? Thank you very much. It's very good.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
I'm surprised you only have 16. Hopefully it'll grow for
Yes,
you.
and we hope to grow the budget as well. We're being creative with identifying more funding.
Ah.
So. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Dr. Ray Rivera, the Emeritus Distinction Award for South Mountain Community College. Dr. Rivera?
President Linsing, with your permission, can I approach the podium?
Yes, please.
Good evening, President Livingston, members of the Governing Board, Chancellor Glasper, members of CEC, and guests. We've been granted a few minutes tonight on tonight's agenda for a very special purpose, to announce and celebrate the conferring of emeritus status upon an individual whose impact on South Mountain Community College, and in particular our students, has been truly extraordinary. Tonight we recognize Dr. Oscar Hardin. Although Dr. Hardin has been with Maricopa Community College District for more than 25 years, we were privileged to have him at South Mountain Community College for the last 10. During his tenure as psychology faculty at South Mountain, he has had a tremendous impact on his students. One of his students said that he was the best instructor he had ever had, and another credits his experience with Dr. Hardin for making her the teacher she is today. Dr. Hardin is passionate about psychology, and his inspiration and dedication for student success had students seeking out his classes. In addition to serving students in the classroom, Dr. Hardin served the campus, the district, and the state. He served 15 years on the Psychology Instructional Council and State of Arizona Psychology Articulation Task Force, is a lifetime member of Psi Beta, participated on the Behavioral Assessment Team and Student Conduct Disciplinary Board at South, and was a South Mountain Faculty Senator and provided mentoring to faculty. We are honored to acknowledge the accomplishments of Dr. Hardin and announce the granting of his emeritus status as conferred by the Maricopa Community College Governing Board. Congratulations, Dr. Hardin.
Thank you very much. Excuse me. I don't often get choked up, but this is one of those occasions. I consider myself a very lucky man because I first came to the district in 1974 as an adjunct at Scottsdale Community College. I was hired full-time excuse me, at Glendale in 1976. I left the district in 1979 to go teach in a graduate program at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and was there for about 6 years. I came back to Phoenix to take care of my mother who was terminally ill. Thank you. That helps a little bit, thank you. Excuse me. I came back to bury my mom and go back to Vegas. And some of you who have had an occasion to deal with cancer know that the end stages are just weird. And so it's like a roller coaster. One day they look like they're going to die, and the next day they're up dancing on the patio. And so long story short, I stayed here to take care of her through the terminal stages and was contacted immediately by colleagues at Glendale Community College wanting me to teach again as an adjunct until I decided what I was going to do. After my mother passed, I was hired back immediately at Glendale in 1986 and have been here ever since. The last 10 years, as Dr. Rivera said, has been at South Mountain Community College. I'm lucky because I've been hired twice. Some people try to get in this district their whole entire lifetimes and they never make it once. And so I'm extremely pleased that I have the opportunity to do that. I've had some milestones along the way. I've had a chance to teach doctoral level students who are just working on becoming doctors. I had a private practice in forensic psychology with the Arizona State Supreme Court for many years. And people often say to me, with your background, with your experience, why would you want to teach community college students? And the answer to that is very simple, is because I absolutely love the population of students that we serve. Just as a quick aside, here's a good case. Michael, would you stand up? Mikael Wilson, a disabled vet back from the war, starting from the very bottom, didn't have anything. Worked his way through South Mountain, worked very hard, moved on, and just told me tonight that he has finally completed all his requirements for his bachelor's degree, which he'll be receiving at the end of this semester. Looking for a graduate program. We'll find one. It really boils down to this. Some people get up and they go to work. For me, teaching our students was my passion. I mean, my passion. I want you to think of yourself tonight. We're here such a very short time on the earth. And to be able to reach and fulfill your passion, I don't know if it really gets any better than that. I didn't do it alone. There has to be thanks. Dr. Glasper, who I had a chance to work with primarily before he became chancellor, but we had a chance to work together on occasion. I want to thank Dr. Sherry Olson and Dr. Ray Rivera, the administration over at South Mountain. My division leader is here, Dr. Jerome Garrison, who was extremely supportive of the work that I was doing at South Mountain. And last but not least, my colleague, Dr. Brian Doc Murphy, in psychology. We work together very closely every day, and became not only colleagues but close friends. And last but not least, I thank the board for this distinction. Thank you so much.
Any comments or statements for you? You ran away. You really do have to stay. You need a card right there.
Okay.
Doyle, please.
Yes, I just wanted to point out that this is the sort of faculty Ms. Bednarik was talking about.
Oh. Well, I can switch that another way, but I'm not going to. Sir.
Yes.
You are a thrill to get to have the honor with this group to present this award to. To say you fulfilled your passion every day. Well, I have to say this: you might have already given out the awards to all your students, and what you did tonight was not just bring those that you worked with, you brought those that got to work under you, your students, and that's really what we're here, and that's what it's all about. That's really, at the end of the day, what it's about. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Haber wants to comment.
Teachers like you, and I've met many, by the way, that make me so proud to be on this board and to be part of this incredible college system. And congratulations, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Going once, going twice, sold? Okay, now you get to sit down.
Thank you.
Now you do. Thank you, sir. Citizens interim. The board offers opportunity for members of the public to address the governing board. In compliance with the open meeting law, the governing board will neither discuss nor take action on issues raised during this portion of the agenda. When necessary, issues will be taken under advisement and placed on subsequent agendas. First this evening is Charles Pierce, representing veterans. Mr. Pierce, good evening.
Good evening, ma'am. President Livingston, members of the council, of the board, Dr. Glasper, members of CEC, and guests. Thank you for having me here to allowing me the opportunity to address some of my concerns about the Veterans Center and the expansion project. For the past 17 years, as an Air Force veteran, by the way, I'm Chuck Pierce from Glendale Community College. I could just hear that coming. And I am the coordinator for the Veterans Services Center there. It's been my honor to serve Maricopa for the last 17 years in the Veterans Services. Due to the demands of the Executive Order 13607, which was signed by President Obama in 2012, the Principles of Excellence for Education Institutions Serving Veterans and Family Members, the DoD, the Veterans Administration, and the Department of Education have levied new requirements, unfunded mandate, of course, that require the schools to participate and serve veteran students and their family members. Maricopa does this quite well. Before this executive order ever came out, the folks at Glendale Community College, our administrators, recognized the need and the importance of serving the veterans community. And we stepped up to that, and we serve our veterans. We have a great passion for our veterans at Glendale Community College. One of the things that we do tremendously is we try to connect with the veteran. It's so important for us to view them as individuals that have given up the bulk of their importance of their life and their family to go serve this country. And when they came back, now it's our turn to step up and serve them to get back, transition from that military back to the civilian life, and hopefully be successful. We try to evaluate that at every opportunity. And when we do have a lot of veterans that are battle damaged, PTSD, other problems that my VP and I talked today about the unbelievable stress of a lot of our combat veterans where they're trained to be that guy that crawls around in the bush and takes a rifle, has to make a decision to take a life. When they come back to us, we're trying to retrain them to become citizens, productive citizens of our community. Sometimes we fail. We lost one of our young men to one of the most horrific statistics that we have to deal with, and that's suicide. The veterans population has the greatest suicide rate in the United States. We lost one of our young men in July. He killed himself on his 34th birthday. What could we have done better to address that and save that young man? That's why we're there. That's our passion, is to meet these men and women, to connect with them. And that's what we're sorely missing at GCC, is the opportunity to have that space that we can meet with these individuals one-on-one. I actually have the only office that's a private space. I have to give that up for 2 weeks a year whenever our veterans counselor from the VA Veterans Administration comes there to meet with her vocational rehabilitation and employment students, because that is the only place on campus that's available in what we call the green zone, which is the Veterans Services Center, their safe zone. So connecting and trying to predict the adverse behaviors, removing roadblocks, that's what we need to do on a daily basis. In the last 5 years, we've helped over 4,146 students in that effort. We take every one of them very seriously. That's unduplicated head count over the last 5 years. And each day is a challenge. But we rise to that challenge because we believe in what you believe in, and that's service to our community. Thank you, ma'am, for hearing me. Questions?
Just thank you very much. Thank you for your service also and your time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Leslie Bayless with the Veterans Center. Good evening.
Hi.
Hi.
Good evening, President Livingston, members of the board, Dr. Glasper, members of the CEC, and guests. My name is Leslie Bayless. I'm a certified official and veterans records technician at Glendale Community College. I work in the Veterans Services Center. I'm here representing our team, veterans, and their families from Glendale Community College. I have been part of the Veterans Services at GCC since July of 2009, just before the VA established the post-9/11 GI Bill. I've watched the population of our veterans and their families that we service grow leaps and bounds over the last 6 years. At times, these students need to discuss personal issues or obstacles that they're dealing with, and the current structure and how it is designed, there's not a lot of privacy. This is when the veterans and their families come in to study or visit. When the lobby and the lounge is full with future students that we're registering or advising, it can get pretty loud. There's not a lot of space, and the ceilings are low, and the advisors in the back get interrupted quite a bit and can't hear what's going on with their students. We serve over 1,400 veterans and their families and see those 1,400 plus multiple times throughout the semester. We strive to meet the needs of every one of our customers, and in order to provide a one-stop and superior service for their success, we need more folks on our teams to be able to provide this service. Right now, we are limited on workstations in order to provide excellent customer service. I'm a civilian. My dad was a Vietnam vet. This is my service. I'm giving back to those who have served and their families who have sacrificed for us, and I'm asking that you approve the expansion of the Veterans Services Center so we may continue our service and grow. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
Thanks. Thank you. and Joe Mercer. Good evening, Mr. Mercer. And you're here to speak on GCC Veteran Center, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, President Livingston, Board of Directors, Dr. Glasper, the CEC. My name is Joseph Mercer. I am here from Glendale Community College. It's my privilege and honor to work in the Veterans Service Center. I've been working with Maricopa Community College District since 1998, quite a few years. I am a veteran. I'm a Vietnam veteran. It's been my honor, my privilege, and my passion to serve the young men and women who are coming from the services who have been in there after I left. The facility that we're in right now is a great improvement on what we had before. I have a slide presentation. Hopefully it will open. We talk about the size of our facility and how it is limiting the effectiveness of us serving the students who come to our facility. This is when we first opened the facility in 2010. We've been there for 5 years. I picked that picture for a very specific reason. There's only 12 individuals in that photo. 2 of them you can only see the top of their head, but that room is completely full. That's what we see every day. We serve more than 12 individuals. On a daily basis, we may have 25, 30, sometimes even 50 people coming through that facility. As an advisor, I work in the back. I work one-on-one with individuals, and I'm in a small little cube, but I'm in the back of the building. Sometimes the noise in that building limits my conversation with the student I'm working with right in front of me. I have to stand up, leave the cube, and ask people to please bring it down a little bit. There's work going on in the back. What we're asking for isn't something that's a nicety, something that would be, oh, it'd be nice to have. What we're asking for is something that is essential. We have people that we serve that need desperately what we have to offer. The men and women in uniform who come to see us are not just Maricopa County residents. Personally, I have people coming to Maricopa from all over the country. They find Glendale's name in the directory of veteran-friendly schools. They find Glendale's name in the registry of student veteran campuses. I get phone calls, I get emails, I get messages, and I welcome people to come here. Right now, I'm waiting on 3 people to show up who are getting discharged from the military within the next 2 months. They've already contacted Glendale. I want to come there. How'd you get our name? I found it in the directory. My buddy got out 6 months ago and told me about his experience at Glendale. I want that same service. When they get there, luckily, sometimes they walk in and there's only 2 or 3 people there. We can warmly welcome them, sit down, and have a conversation about why they're coming to Glendale and what can Glendale do for them. Unluckily, they walk in the room and there's 25, 30 people there, and they turn around and walk out. We want to stop that from happening. We need a facility where there's open space, where people can walk in, feel warm, feel safe, and feel that it's a place that belongs to them, that's going to address their issues. One of my heroes, Colin Powell, coined the phrase, shock and awe. There's my shock and awe. Statistics. I'm not going to go through all of those. You can have the presentation if you like. The point of that is all of our veterans do not fit in one box. We have 4 primary different chapters of benefits that veterans are using right now. The primary one that we see most of our students using is Chapter 33 post 9/11 GI Bill. Very lucrative, a vast improvement over the GI Bill that I used, Montgomery GI Bill. But the requirements on the schools for reporting, for monitoring, for continuously following each and every individual student and watching each and every credit hour they take is an enormous task. Try doing that in a room with the activity that's going on in our center. It's near impossible to do our job and get the 100% accuracy that the Veteran Administration demands of us. What we do is a direct effect on that paycheck that comes to our veteran. If we make a mistake, they see that mistake in their paycheck. Thank you, Ms. Livingston. Thank you, Board, for listening to me. Thank you for the opportunity to stand here this evening. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chancellor's report, Dr. Glasper.
No report, Madam Chair.
All right, sir. Employee group reports, any others on here? I think we already took care of that. But the Maricopa Veterans Maricopa Educational Task Force, Mr. Robert Cavan. Sir, did I mispronounce your name? Is it Cavan?
It's Robert Cavan, ma'am.
Cavan. I'm sorry, sir. Welcome.
Good evening, President Livingston, board members, Dr. Glasper, and members of the CEC and guests. My name is Robert Cavan. I am currently the president of the MVETS, and I'm here for two reasons, and I want to start off with the first one. MVETS would like to cordially invite President Livingston and board members and members of the CEC and Dr. Glasper to our annual Veterans Appreciation Luncheon on the 19th of November, which will be held from 11 to 1 o'clock. Colors will be posted at 11 o'clock by the Junior ROTC Color Guards Marcos D. Ninza. It's a U.S. Junior ROTC. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Bustamante and Rio Salado for sponsoring the luncheon on the 19th. Now, a quick update about the convocation next year. The date has changed to May 6th. It's a Friday evening from 4 to 7. It will be held at Mesa Community College. The theme for the convocation will be past, present, and future. And at this time, I'd like to thank Dr. Pan and Mesa Community College for sponsoring this event. And my last reason I'm here. President Livingston, we forwarded a letter to you from the MVETS. And I'd like to take this opportunity at this moment that we voted as a constituency group to form this letter to present to the board. And this is our support for Glendale Community College Veteran Center's expansion. And we wholeheartedly give 100% support. And with the board's approval, we look forward to moving forward with this. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Board?
The luncheon, I think, is at the Wigwam?
No, sir, it's at the Rio Salado's conference room.
Oh, okay, that's a different one then. All right, thank you.
Maybe the fourth annual, we may think about that one. Yes, sir.
That's a golf tournament I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? Do you want to know what they're serving for lunch?
Not yet.
Okay. All right, we'll get that question to you. Thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you.
We now move to the approval of the order of the agenda. The order of agenda items, do I have a motion to approve? I'm sorry.
Move approval?
Second, any discussion? All in favor of approving the order of agenda? Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Consent agenda, consideration of consent agenda action items. Does anyone wish to remove any items from the consent agenda?
Move approval?
Okay, thank you. All in favor of the consent, it was moved. Can I have a second, please? Okay, all in favor of approving the consent agenda? Aye. Any opposed? 7-0, it passes. Consideration of non-consent action items. 15.1 business services to take action on the conceptual approval for the Veterans Center remodeling and expansion at Glendale Community College. Ms. Thompson, would you care to comment?
Madam President, members of the board, this is a bond-funded project, and it is to both expand and remodel the existing Veterans Center at the college, and we recommend its approval.
Thank you. Does the board have any comments or statements they'd like to make before we take the vote?
Yes, I would. I visited
No,
the center on Friday and brought my husband, who is a long-time registered architect. And, can everyone hear me? Oh, that's much better, thank you. And I would like to say that as I entered the vet center, I was really quite surprised at just how cramped it really was. I heard there were that problem existed, but to experience it firsthand is something quite different. It wasn't a place that I would want to spend much time because I tend to get claustrophobic when furniture has to be pushed so close together. And I can't imagine how anyone in a self-propelled wheelchair could get around, and certainly not two people. And we went through had been brought up about construction, and mostly it had to do, well, partly at least, about a dry well. Well, that is probably one of the simplest items that anybody doing construction has to deal with, is from what I understand from the construction supervisor and from my husband. The site is ideal because it is near the Student Union and the Disabilities Administration Building. The cost is not as prohibitive as many might think, because they have to consider many different points. For instance, the actual building was constructed in 1977. The codes were quite different then. Since that time, the building codes have become, they've quadrupled, and especially for public buildings. And probably mostly for safety's sake, if you look at the codes. And so what we have today, I would say, is probably not as safe as it should be, and that can lead to litigation, as we're all familiar with litigation that we've had to deal with in this district. I can't think of any reason not to approve it. Oh, another part of it is they have to have a certain amount of money on reserve, and that added to the budget, because when a building is that old, one doesn't know what one might find when one takes down the walls, such as asbestos, such as termites, who knows. So they have a certain amount of money in the budget for that. They did have a professional estimator figure out the approximate costs. And another point that I have to make on this is that Glendale Community College is noted for coming under budget with its projects. And so I think we can assume that probably it won't cost as much as what we're allowing. And I think they've done a very good job of putting importance on this project. I know that my constituents, the people I met at libraries when I was going around collecting signatures, many of them vets, they would want me to vote yes. There's no question in my mind. And It's with the money that they voted for. So I believe that I am supporting my constituents. I believe that I'm using common sense. I believe I've been thorough in looking at all the questions that have come up about it. And I'd like to share that with my colleagues on the board before we take a vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Saber. I do want to share one thing. In hearing all of your testimony, the realities, I go back to two things that I personally live with. I only had one family member in the military, and that was my father-in-law. And he is deceased now. But he would want all vets to have an opportunity. This Christmas, I go and I have my best friend and my son's godfather, Navy SEAL, retire after 25 years. Well, he's the most frugal man alive. And I'm not saying that I throw a dollar around, but I know he would want all vets to have a place. Another good friend of ours was a Ranger. He came back with severe PTSD. Now, he's very successful in life now. But boy, he's told me horror stories. I know he would want that. So I think we're looking above this at beyond the dollar figure into the passion and to the mission and statement that we have as a community college and perhaps almost a moral obligation. So with that, I move for a motion to approve.
Second?
Any comments beyond what was stated?
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
Madam Chairman, there's
Hold on, push a button.
there's a certain brotherhood, and now there's a certain sisterhood that comes about from serving in the military, from being at risk, from carrying a rifle with the intent to do harm or good, depending on your point of view. There's a certain brotherhood, a certain sisterhood that binds us all, who had that experience, whether it was in Vietnam or Korea or Iraq or Afghanistan. It binds us all. The greatest pain of all is still to go to the Veterans Coliseum every year when we stand for veterans and see the extraordinary amount of pain amongst Vietnam veterans that still is there. It's so palpable and so real. I mean, we're having people see dentists and get their hair cut, and we do it once a year, and the rest of the time they walk the streets of Phoenix, I guess. And that phenomena came about because of the public policy of this country to have sent us there and brought us back and said, as Bruce Springsteen says in the song, "Son, don't you understand?" The VA man says, this generation of veterans is unlike that generation of veterans. There are no more draftees. Everyone is a volunteer. Everyone knowingly put their life at risk. Everyone went there knowing, even if they were sitting in an office at Fort Benning, that at any given moment, if the order came, they were going to Afghanistan, knowing that they were at risk for the entire time they were there. And now they've come home. And many of them, I suspect, just as many as in Vietnam, come back as damaged as we did. And so the very little that we do with this center, the very, very little do with this center is an extraordinary achievement. I have sat here and encouraged every president to go back, and I mean it. I hope to tour your Veterans Center at each of your colleges to go back and look at their facilities and see what we're doing in each of those centers, because we ought to be welcoming veterans, we ought to be educating them, we ought to be training them, and we ought to be recognizing when there's pain in their eyes that could lead to what it did in Glendale, to lead to suicide, or frankly, just lead to a life of misery. I don't go to Post 41 anymore. The reason is I don't drink as much beer as I used to. Veterans will know what I mean. But that camaraderie is there if I were to walk in there tonight. It's there if I were to walk into any post in this country. That camaraderie is what ought to drive us to understand why we need this and why we never should argue for months again. Never should argue for months again whether we should recognize and serve our veterans. Let's get this building built. Thank you.
Since we have moved and we have seconded it, correct? Or second on the record? Okay. May we vote all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. 15.2, to take action on the purchase for order for carpet replacement at the Paul Elsner Library at Mesa Community College. Any comments by the board on this particular item before I turn it over to Ms. Thompson? No? Ms. Thompson.
Madam President, members of the board, this will replace all of the carpeting in this building, which is about 98,000 square feet. It was constructed in 1999, so for 17 years they've had the same carpet in place that is wearing, and they would like to replace it. It's a heavily used facility, and we recommend approval of this item.
I move approval.
Second.
Thank you. Any additional comments? None? Vote all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It passes 7-0. To take action 15.3 on job order contracting purchase order for John Paul Theater addition at Phoenix College. Ms. Thompson?
Madam President, members of the board, this would add approximately 2,300 additional square feet to the almost 16,000 square feet facility. The scope includes the addition of theater lighting, computer classroom, conference room, reception area, and expansion of the scene shop, costume workshop, and scenery flat storage. It'll also renovate the lobby restrooms and install a new Class A fire alarm system to bring it into compliance with current life safety codes, and we recommend its approval.
Ms. Thompson, what was the final cost on that?
It is $946,000 approximately.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second? Okay. A vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
It passes 6-1. 15.4, take action on extension of PeopleSoft financial management system and Hyperon Consultants. Ms. Thompson.
Madam President, members of the board, in July, we went live with two brand-new systems. One is the financial management system, which is replaces our 18-year-old accounting system, and the other is the Maricopa Planning and Budgeting module, which is a Hyperion product that replaces our 15-year-old budget system. We've worked in the months since go live to correct some of the issues that arose and to deal with some process issues. We have found that we do need the continued support of the consultants who have supported us through this development and go live. Support that will help us to basically receive the knowledge that they have and make us self-sufficient in maintaining this system, and also to implement some of the changes that still need to be put into effect. So we're requesting a contract extension and an increase in the award through the end of December of this calendar year.
Are there any comments or questions that we have for Ms. Thompson or anyone? Okay. Motion to approve?
So move.
Second?
Second.
A vote, please. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 7-0. 16, Human Resources. This is 16.1, take action on the Chancellor's contract of employment for 2015 to 2018. Any comments by the board right now?
Madam Chairman, I call for a roll call vote.
All right, so be it. A roll call vote.
I move that we approve the motion.
What? Okay, do you want
Second.
Mr. Combs to say anything? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Mr. Combs, you're up, if you wish. You're on here. Would you like to comment?
Shall there be a roll call vote?
Shall there be?
Oh, I'm sorry, my item has been moved and seconded, I'm sorry.
Your item has been moved and seconded, yes.
This is a personal injury claim, a small claim.
No, we're on 16.1, the chancellor's contract.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think.
No, I'm sorry, it's right above that, so we're just gonna go ahead and vote. And then we'll get to you in a minute.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
back at you. Okay, roll call vote. Do you wanna start at the right? We can. Mrs. McGrath?
Don't you normally go alphabetically, Madam
I
President?
don't have my alphabet memorized right now. No, hold on. Then it would be, hey, Mr. Gutierrez, Miss Haver, I didn't know that. Haver, Gutierrez, Haver,
B comes before G in the normal alphabet.
so you're first.
No.
No.
Oh!
No.
I'm so
I'm
sorry,
a G.
Mr. Burke.
Mr. Burke is a B.
It's the story of my life.
So sorry. Take it away.
Yes, I vote yes.
Okay. Mr. Gutierrez.
Yes.
Miss Haver.
Yes.
Mr. Heap.
No.
I'm on H, so I'm going to Mrs. Oh, would I go?
No, Chairman
you're
votes
last.
last.
Oh, sorry. Mrs. McGrath?
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to explain my vote.
Absolutely.
This is a very important thing that we do. As a new member, I was looking forward to a great deal of discussion on this issue, as it is a contract for over $408,000. And the thing that really bothers me is it is a multi-year contract. I'm not used to that. I've served on boards before where we've done contracts and we didn't do rolling contracts where there's always a 3-year contract. The contract that we're approving has an arbitration clause in it, and it seems like a strange thing to me to have, because in government here in Arizona, you're either a covered employee, which means you are subject to rules and regulations and have an employment contract and are protected in many ways in your employment. Uncovered employees do not have all of those protections, yet they earn a much larger salary in compensation for being an at-will employee. And we see this all the time in state government. The governor fires agency heads sometimes in a rather rapid fashion. So this contract calls for arbitration in the event that the chancellor is released, and it calls for one arbitrator selected by the I don't know quite who selects it. The chancellor applies to the arbitration, professional arbitrators people. And anyway, it just doesn't seem right to me that a covered employee gets it both ways. Uncovered, you don't get anyway. So I'm very disappointed, and I'm also disappointed that we did not get to discuss this. I couldn't discuss it with other people because that's a violation of the open meeting law. And we went into an executive session and we had 20 minutes to discuss it. I was looking forward to a series of discussions because I had some questions about it. I would have liked to have gotten some opinions on my issues that I'm concerned about and then have them brought back for at least the second discussion meeting. So for all these reasons, Madam Chairman, I vote no.
Thank you, Mrs. McGrath. Mr. Saar?
I'll explain my vote too. I think, this is 20 years of being a board member, and I've gone through numerous contracts. This is a pretty standard contract. I have watched the last 5 years of the Chancellor's contract, and we've had no problem with it. And I'm much more inclined to add another year to the Chancellor's contract because, quite frankly, we have one of the best in the nation. I get a chance in my positions at the national level to talk to a lot of governing boards, and with the district that we have, the size, the quality, and so forth, I just think from listening to others that we are so fortunate to have somebody like Dr. Glasper heading up this operation, and I vote yes.
I'd like to explain my vote. The person that sits in front of you, that is our chancellor, is a wonderful man. He's a wonderful quality, wonderful quality. Oh, I'm tired. He has special qualities and brings them every day to the college. For the life of me right now, I don't see anybody else in his position. But there are so many reasons that right now I can't agree with the contract as it stands, so I vote no. Passes 4-3. And then Mr. Combs, I apologize, but you're in two places for some reason. But now we would like to go ahead and give you 17.1, which is take action on the resolution of Gill versus MCCD.
Thank you.
It's all yours.
This is a small personal injury case. The board has been briefed in executive session at the last meeting, and I encourage you to support this settlement.
Any comments or questions?
Move to accept the settlement.
Second.
Madam Chairman, yes, I'd like to discuss a few things with Mr. Combs if I could.
Yes, you can. It's been moved and seconded. Go
Could you
ahead.
describe the nature of this case to us, Mr. Combs?
This is a slip and fall case. It involves an attendee, a family member who slipped and fell at a graduation at a facility that we rent for that purpose.
It's been moved and seconded. Mrs. McGrath, any additional?
No, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? It passes 7-0. 17.2, Mr. Combs, this is to take action on the resolution of Sherlock versus MCCD. And/or Mr. Glasper. Chancellor Glasper. Okay, Mr. Combs?
Again, this is a small personal injury settlement. The board was briefed in writing this time in an email, and I again encourage you to support the settlement.
Move approval.
Second, okay. Vote all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it passes 7-0. The following are information items. The first is 18.1, review of employments, regular, short-term, and specially funded in September. And Mr. Mackey.
Thank you, President
Thank
Livingston,
you.
members of the board. This is information item for our employment actions for the month of September 2015. We have 41 total new hires, 15 of those regular positions, 20 are short-term hires, and 6 are specially funded. Move on to 18.2.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Separations for the same period, the month of September 2015, 16 total separations.
Doesn't sound so bad, does it? No. Thank you very much, sir. Business services.
Madam President, may I ask a few questions, please?
Absolutely, Mrs. McGrath. I apologize.
Thank you. Thank you. We decided several months ago that we were going to put a freeze on hiring because we're having a little bit of difficulty with our funding, and we're thinking of trying to raise more funds. And last month we had 2 new people, and this month we have 1 new person. Could you explain to me why we're hiring new people when the board decided to not have any new hires?
Madam Chair, members of the board, I will address that. This board has never made that declaration of that there will be no new hires. So I'm not sure where this comes from.
Mrs. McGrath.
Madam President,
Yes.
Mr. Chancellor, we did it in a committee meeting, one of our second Tuesday meetings. I think it was about 3 months ago that we discussed this, and was decided that we were going to try to put a hold on new hires. And I just want to know why we're making a new hire, what this person does, and that we had to hire another person to do whatever it is they're doing.
Madam Chair, members of the board does not take action in a committee meeting. And to my knowledge, I was never provided that instruction by the board.
Madam Chair, I don't recall ever doing that.
I don't recall doing that either.
I actually don't recall if it was something as discussed in a committee. Chancellor Glasper obviously is correct on this. We made no motion to go forward with such an item at this point.
We don't make motions and votes in committee meetings, so no, we didn't. But I would like to know what this person is doing, that we didn't have anyone, that we had to have a new hire.
Sure, I'll let Ed Kelty speak to it as it is a hire in ITS.
Madam Chair and members of the board, this is a project manager. This individual helps coordinate the activities of ITS, not only in ITS, but throughout the district office and across Maricopa when it comes to initiatives and IT projects that the district would like to accomplish.
Thank you.
Mr. Saar.
And this is one of those IT positions that we've been relying on outside services to get accomplished. So what we're really doing here is bringing somebody in-house to replace a much more expensive person that we've had on contract. Is that right?
That is correct.
Well,
So we're
Madam
saving
Chair,
money?
In addition to that, let me say that in this area, we have the board has specifically from time to time appropriated funds so that IT could go forward with these projects because of the sort of sweeping transition that we're in the process of accomplishing. So these funds were specifically appropriated by this board for this individual.
Mrs. McGrath, is that clear as a bell? Okay, thank you. Ms. Thompson, we didn't get to you yet. 19.1 Budget Analysis Report, Fund 1, the General Unrestricted Fund for the 3 months ending September 30th, 2015. Are there any comments you'd like to make for the board?
Madam President, members of the board, through this period, 17.5% of expenditures have been recognized, which is pretty typical. And the reason our expenditures are very typical from year to year is because most are in payroll and benefits, and those happen every 2 weeks. So it's a very steady change every 2 weeks and every month. About 20.9% of budgeted revenue has been recognized. That also is pretty comparable. You'll see a big jump in October and November because those are 2 months of the 4 months of the year when property tax collections are at their highest. So you'll see a big jump in revenue next month and November. That's it.
Very good. Any comments from the board on this item? Community linkage. Mr. Burke, would you like to start us off with your governing board report for the session?
Just returned from the Association of Community College Trustees Conference in San Diego. According to our policies, we are to do a written report on that, and I'm in the midst of writing it. It was a fascinating conference. We learned a great deal about issues facing community colleges nationwide. I attended a session on federal legislation, the Reauthorization Act, which it appears, actually there's a budget that will be voted on for 2 years, which is, we've been working on reauthorizations for several years, and it appears that a budget is in the work for 2 years. And the Reauthorization Act of the Higher Education Act would be part of that. But anyway, I have information on several items that will affect community colleges that will be in that report. They are too lengthy to report tonight.
Thank you. And Mr. Heap. I'm sorry, Mr. Gutierrez. I have got to learn these ABCs.
You've got to carry it around with you. They actually print for kids in little cards. It's very helpful. Well, at least it was to me when I was 5. I was not particularly active this month, but I will tell you one thing. We, working with the Raul Castro Institute of Phoenix College, with the Lacey Larkin Foundation, we've instituted a program with Raul Castro on Hispanic and Latino issues. We've had 2 major programs at Bullpit Auditorium that have been heavily attended. The first was La Bestia, which is we brought the documentary filmmaker to Phoenix to describe his experience making La Bestia, which is about children taking the train from Central America. When I say taking the train, I don't mean they were passengers, paying passengers. They were on the roof, etc. It's a horrendous documentary. We then did The Salt of the Earth subsequent to that, and on November 19th, we're bringing Miriam Powell. Miriam Powell is a biographer. She's written 2 books on Cesar Chavez, A Union of Their Dreams and The Crusades of Cesar Chavez. She's considered the authoritative historian of the United Farm Workers Union and of Cesar. She's relatively controversial because she pulls no punches. So that'll be November 19th, and I invite you all to be there.
And it's where?
Bullpit Auditorium at Phoenix College, 6:30 p.m. It's a Thursday. No, that's the one we spent the money on is the John Paul Auditorium. This is at the Bullpit Auditorium, which is about 4 times the size. It's big, so when we spend money there, it will be really big.
Okay, there's a pause for some reflection. Ms. Haver.
Yes, thank you. I've had an active month. I was in September on vacation, and so it was time for me to be active again, and I enjoyed it very much. On October the 8th, I had the honor of cutting the ribbon for the opening of the Paradise Valley Community College Vet Center. And
where's your pictures?
oh, we have pictures,
Oh,
but
good.
I haven't seen them yet. And it was a wonderful experience, and I always enjoy meeting people in the military. There's something very, I think, what can I say, very, very exciting and dignified about the people who serve for us. So I was really happy to be able to have this honor. I also went to the conference in San Diego, and one of the high points was a session on Midlands Technical College's marketing program. Now, Midlands Technical College actually consists of 6 colleges in South Carolina, and they have put together quite an amazing program. Their website is quite user-friendly and fun, actually. And so I took a lot of notes that maybe we could use as we develop our own marketing program. Also, there was quite a good session on California's foundation, and I found that interesting. It's huge, and I'm sure that we are in communication with the people of the California Foundation. I would like to take a moment to congratulate the people who've worked on the Maricopa Priorities Project. The update shows that they're making great progress consolidating. I know that's a very, very difficult operation, and they're continuing, and we are moving steadily towards the one Maricopa that we've all supported. And I would also like to mention Megan Carnes-Garvey, who is the person who initiated the grant for English language learner education at Mesa Community College. I wanted more details about the program because I was involved in ELL education, and oftentimes it seemed that the colleges of education were teaching methods that were not in agreement with state law. Well, that's not the case. In fact, if anything, they're going well beyond, and they're also including a segment for foreign language, which is something that I felt the state should have, but it never did develop that. So I'm quite excited. This grant that we voted on tonight will provide our ELLs the opportunity to receive some help in STEM subjects, which is probably these classes can be very technical for second language learners, and I'm so happy that we'll be able to teach teachers how to help students to navigate through those subjects. And also, I cannot leave out Dr. Leyba Ruiz of Glendale Community College. She gave me a ride to the Por La Casa celebration dinner last week. I had been to the eye doctor, and my eyes were dilated, so I was not really able to drive myself. And she drove long distances because she lives on the opposite side of the valley from me. So I enjoyed getting to know her. It was a wonderful experience. And I have to mention that I was especially excited to see one of the teachers at Palomino Elementary School, which is in the Paradise Valley Unified School District and is where I live, receive an award. I have visited that school, and I've been so impressed. In fact, my husband was substituting, and when he told me he was going to go there, I said, "You're going to have a wonderful time." And he did. He came back and couldn't believe how well the children in that school, and they either are English learners or they used to be English learners, how well they could write. And so you can imagine how happy I was that one of the teachers received this award of $5,000 and recognition, as well as 3 others that also deserve for me to say something about, but I know that everyone has probably heard enough from me. So I will close with that. Thank you.
Exciting stuff. And Mr. Heap.
I think the word she was looking for, right, when talking about the veterans' new home in Paradise Valley, was probably patriotism, and that it was a phenomenal reception. And I'm looking forward to seeing the results of Glendale's new project and installing and protecting patriotism. The next meeting we went to was Mesa. It was the opening of the registration area, which was phenomenal. I know it's taken 10, 15 years to develop their new program out there, but they've really thought it out. It's there, and now I think it could be a great advantage not only for Mesa, but in other areas, to be able to make it easier for people to choose and to work with the consultants. The next meeting we went to was the ACT, and it was quite an experience. It was 5 days of going from meetings from 7 o'clock until almost 9 o'clock every day, and the tone of the meeting was set by board members of the colleges throughout the United States. They are very positive, and they know they are in front of a huge challenge, and the challenge seems to be dedicated to sustainability, doing with what they have best with what they have, and improving on it and making the colleges better. The emphasis was striking, that they knew they could do it, and they are going to do it. Meeting it also, and it was the meetings, the social meetings, which were in between meetings, were probably the most informative, because we sat around at the luncheons and breakfasts, and talking to each day, talking to 10 different board members from 10 different colleges, and viewing all their ideas and their hopes, their aspirations, and their goals. They're not unlike ours, and they don't have a crystal ball. They're just out there trying to do their best, and they know the students are doing their best, the teachers are doing their best, and we're all working together to achieve the outcomes that we all have set for ourselves. So thank you.
Dr. Harper Marinick. No. Mr. Sarr.
Madam President, I believe I'm next in line.
Again, I will be laminating one of those little packet things, and I'll be carrying it with me. Mrs. McGrath.
Thank you. I don't think you need to. We all know where we are in the order here, and we can volunteer step up. At the meeting last month, I stated that staff had not provided me with information about the chancellor's contract and about his salary. Excuse me, I got a frog. And I was entirely wrong. And Ms. LaCoya Johnson immediately sent me the same information again. I've been studying a lot about memory, and it's very interesting, and I'm sad to say I'm one of those statistics that has memory quirks every now and then, and I deeply apologize for my remarks last month. And I too attended the opening of the Student Information Center and services at Mesa Community College, and it was absolutely unbelievably well designed. I've never seen, my husband was an architect, and I really appreciate good architecture, and it was terrific building. And as a member of the Arizona Nursery Association, eat your heart out, I was so impressed with the landscaping design also, and I was so pleased to see that they put one of my favorite trees in, Quercus virginiana, southern live oak, and it's going to be a beautiful, much more beautiful campus than it is right now. Congratulations, Dr. Pan, on your great work. Thank you, Madam President.
Mr. Sarr. You okay, Mrs. McGrath?
Oh, yeah.
It's all good. Okay, a little hot there?
I,
Yeah, all right.
as Mr. Burke said, when we go to these conferences, it's a good idea to document what we learned. I'm got mine done. And I could sit here for the next half hour and read it to everybody, but two things I could to bore you to death, and second, my voice wouldn't make it, so you're lucky tonight. But I did attend 5 days of constant to 7 in the morning, as was said earlier, to 9 o'clock at night, and really got a chance to sit down with a lot of other board members, as I mentioned earlier, to find out what's going on in the rest of the nation when it comes to community college education. And you know, as great as we are, and quite frankly, as great as the rest of the country know we are, there's always things that we pick up from some of these other college districts that we can bring back here and use as best practices in our situation. And that's really the benefit of spending time at these conferences. And I think Mr. Heap and I drove to San Diego in one of our vehicles provided by the district. It was not a Cadillac. It did have 4 wheels and a bench seat. And that bench seat and 2 people like Mr. Heap and I is well used. But the point is that you get a chance in that 5 days to really come back with some good information, and we'll hope that we can incorporate a lot of what all of us learned while we were there into our programs here. And it's always a great opportunity to learn how well our district performs compared to the rest of the nation. That's kind of a highlight of every one of these trips. So I congratulate everybody in the district for putting us in that position, and look forward to sharing some of the things I learned with the Chancellor, probably more than he really has time for, but he's going to get it because I got it written down. Thank you.
Yes, he does. All right, I'm at the end of the list, not because of my alphabet, though, but that I know. I spend most of my life in my car, and the other half in my classroom, and then some time here. So I'm driving to school. Yes, there's a story with this. I'm driving to school. It was just a couple days ago. Actually, it was Thursday of last week. And I go at the same time every single day. And I have never heard the commercial for Maricopa. Well, it came on. And I just got so excited. Actually, I did kind of a little dance. There's no music to it, but that's okay. I was jumping up and down. It was so exciting not to hear those other higher-priced colleges on in this time slot. And it's the same radio station I listen to every morning. And I don't know if it's a new plug-in or one that I've just always missed, but it was very exciting to see one of our maybe dreams, initiatives going forward, which is to get the word out about Maricopa. And so if you saw a little Mini Cooper dance, that was me dancing down Grand Avenue. Yeah. I have a luxury route. That's it for me today, but we're going to the Vice Chancellor reports, and our Vice Chancellor does have a report. So, Dr. Maria Harper-Marinick.
Thank you, Mrs. Livingston, members of the board, Chancellor Glasper, CEC colleagues, and guests. I would like to take a minute to introduce the 33 participants in the Women's Mentors program who are here tonight as part of their learning this year to observe how you make decisions and how you interact with each other. This is the 15th year we've had the program in Maricopa, and we've had 396 women of Maricopa participate and graduate, and many of them receiving promotions throughout the year. So I would like to ask the participants in the mentor program to please stand so that we can say thank you for their participation in the program. And we have some members of the planning committee sitting in the back, so if they could also stand so we can say thank you for their volunteer work. Thank you, Mrs. Livingston.
Thank you. Thank you for staying. Thank you for being here. And thank you for everything that you do. The smiles on your faces just were ear to ear. So I know it must be a fantastic program. Good job. External community reports, Mr. Burke, and then Mr. Saar. Mr. Burke.
Madam Chair, the Arizona Association of District Governing Boards will meet in November. I don't have the date yet, but I did get a message today from the president. He is contacting ACCT about the Governance Institute for Student Success that we attended last spring to learn about the follow-up. We have 2 years more to work on that, and he's going to deal with that at our November meeting and give us information.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Mr. Saar.
And let me add to our local state chapter. We got together in in San Diego, and to my knowledge, that's the largest group of Arizona board members that I think I've ever attended.
Yes.
The GISS one was another one, but I mean in terms of getting away from Arizona, so. Good things are happening in that organization. In terms of ACCT, we just came back from the Congress. We are looking forward to attending the Legislative Summit in Washington, D.C. in February. Lots of things are going to be happening between now and then legislatively and at the federal level, and hopefully all good in terms of what we're looking for. But our role there is to talk to some of those department heads to find out how we can take advantage of some of the new programs that are out there, as our colleges are already doing. But if you don't ask for money, you rarely get it. So that's one of our roles. And as far as the School Board Association, the interesting thing in the last couple of days is that the details I haven't seen yet, but it sounds like the leadership in our legislature and the governor and the schools that were involved in the lawsuit have reached an agreement. Look forward to seeing what the results of that are.
I would have no idea. The establishment of the next meetings, dates, and times. November is a busy month. Back here November 3rd at 5 p.m., the annual Outcomes Retreat, Governing Board Room. November 10th, 6 p.m., Board Policy Committee meeting. That's it is in room 1388. What is GW? Oh, Gateway Community College. Never mind, we'll be there. Join us if you wish. November 10th, agenda review, also at Gateway. November 24th, the agenda review here, room 128. November 24th, the Board Budget and Finance Committee meeting, the Maricopa room. And November 24th, the regular board meeting, Governing Board room. And we are busy. And with this, I move to adjourn. The October 27th, 2015 meeting is adjourned. Good night, board fans. Have a great and safe night driving home.